видеть вас на нашем сегодняшнем мероприятии, которое 100 плюс форум Раша проводит в партнерстве с Российским Советом по экологическому строительству. Тема сегодняшнего вебинара – экологичное строительство, реальность и будущее. И прежде чем передать слово нашему другу и модератору Гаю Имзу, я хотела бы озвучить некоторые технические моменты. У нас сегодня мультинациональный состав спикеров, и большинство из них будут говорить на английском языке. При этом для вас доступен синхронный перевод. Первоначально, когда вы зашли смотреть вебинар, вы слышите оригинальный звук, то есть непосредственно тот звук, который идет от каждого спикера. Для того, чтобы во время выступлений на английском языке слышать переводчика на русском, вам нужно в панели управления ниже найти значок «Перевод». Он выглядит как глобус, и выбрать русский язык. Если вы знаете английский и хотите слушать спикеров в оригинале, то вы можете оставить перевод выключенным. Еще раз, если вы хотите слушать по-русски, в нижней панели управления выбираем, находим значок «Глобус», выбираем русский язык. Если хотите слушать спикеров в оригинале, оставляем перевод выключенным. Если вдруг у вас какие-то вопросы либо сложности, вы, пожалуйста, пишите в чат Zoom, мы постараемся вам помочь. Пару слов о регламенте. Мы сегодня планируем провести с вами час 60 минут. Если у вас будут какие-то вопросы, пожалуйста, тоже пишите их в чат Zoom. Если вы смотрите нас на YouTube, то можете оставлять их в комментариях. Мы постараемся максимум вопросов внимания уделить. И я рада передать слово нашему модератору, нашему постоянному соорганизатору сессии на форуме 100 плюс по теме устойчивого строительства. Это председатель Российского Совета по экологическому строительству Гай Имз. Гай, вам слово.
Natalia, good morning, and good morning to everybody who we can hear this morning, who's joined us. It really is a pleasure. For the last few years, I've been participating in the Forum 100 Plus. We've had a great list of speakers from all over the world, and each year we discuss green building issues, new technologies, trends, and I must say it's really well organized and everybody has a really good time. Today we continue this debate with 3 international stars in an exciting panel discussion. These 3 speakers have been carefully chosen as they are at the forefront of green building and are especially relevant to Russian green building development. I'll just give a quick introduction to the 3 before I say a few more words about green building. So first of all, the first of our speakers will be Ivana from JTP Architects in London, who is a leading placemaker, and she's based in London. If I say the words quality places, comfort, healthy environments where people and families can thrive, I think you will get the gist. So often around the world, I see huge projects for thousands of houses, and I'm really shocked by how dead these new developments are. They really look like zombie cities. So Ivana is working as an antidote to that and can show us some really amazing new concepts for building places, wonderful places. Second of our speakers, Kate from Brunsika. I would say that Brunsika is not only one of Russia's most innovative and pioneering mass market developers, but could very soon emerge as the most sustainable developer in Russia, and soon hopefully we'll be able to provide cases and studies for thousands of property professionals and students around Russia and the world. And their approach really will be a wonderful example of sustainable development in action and how to create wonderful strategies in that area. The third of our panelists today is Daniel. Daniel is one of the leading leading one of the world's best examples of green financing for green building, specifically for program for green homes. Whilst generally green building is initially more expensive in terms of capex, capital costs, but is cheaper in operating costs. As many of you may know, life cycle costs are often reduced between 30 and even 50% by building using green concepts. And the Green Homes program, which we're going to see and hear about, proves that there can be win-win-win way of working between the developers, banks, and those who are buying the properties. But before we hear from these 3 wonderful speakers, And before you get also a chance to ask some questions, I would like to comment a little bit about the effects of the pandemia, or the pandemic, which is ongoing, in quite an optimistic way. A few remarks. First of all, that the pandemic is accelerating globally the energy transition to cleaner and renewable fuels. Just yesterday, the head of BP admitted that this could be the turning point in this energy transition. Secondly, as we sit at home and work, the pandemic has given us really time to realize a few things, like how important healthy and comfortable homes are and home offices for us all. It's also allowed us to use technology and really understand how technological change can change our lives drastically, and how many of those journeys which were polluting and bad for the environment are actually completely unnecessary, and that change really is possible on a massive scale. Thirdly, which shows that we can urgently need now to change our economic models, and we realize how the environment is affected by our activity, and that if we do change our models, then the environment can recover. We've seen some wonderful examples around the world where the air has become cleaner, and rivers and seas have been completely different. So this really has served as a massive shock to us all, and it reminds us of the battle for climate change and the climate battle which is going along around us, and how important it is that we take action now and that we don't suffer in the future. So having said that, I would like to again introduce the first speaker and hand over the floor to Ivana. Ivana, are you there?
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Guy, for a wonderful introduction. And thanks for the great words about the future that seems a bit brighter after this, hopefully. If I can start now, should I start sharing my screen? And the
yes, please.
So, as Guy mentioned, my name is Ivana Stanishich, and I come from JTP Architects, come from London, and I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of our projects that reflect our ethos, the best and ethos of holistic sustainability that we are trying to promote. And just to add that I'm delighted to be invited to take part of the panel today, and look forward to hearing my colleague panelists as well later. This works. A bit about JTP. So we are a practice of architects, master planners and placemakers. And we believe that if spaces respond to people's needs, they become places. A bit about how we work in our practice. We approach all our projects through a process of understanding, engaging, and creating. We try and understand the DNA of a place, not go through an approach of one size and one approach fits all. We engage with local community, stakeholders, and clients when doing this. And then we start creating. Only then, after we've understood and engaged, we start creating, and we start with a vision that is a result of a holistic process and end with the design. And I would like to start the presentation in terms of projects with Home, our office that we've recently designed and moved into. It's a self-designed studio, and where we've shown that we practice what we preach. We've designed it to promote the holistic approach to sustainability. And what we mean by this is an approach that is environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and economic sustainability all in one. And some of the key aspects of our new wonderful office is reuse. As the saying goes, most sustainable buildings are the existing ones. So we purposefully chose to reuse a building rather than create a new one. We based the building and design around people. It is built and designed to promote mental health and well-being in every aspect of the space. And we've also put a lot of attention into specification of every material so that the atmosphere in the environment is as healthy as possible, so that it is a truly VOC or volatile organic compound free environment, and we measure air quality regularly. Just some of the aspects of our wonderful new office. Next project I would like to show to you is Alconbury Weald in Cambridgeshire. It is a new settlement built around people, and the key aspect is its environmental, social and economic infrastructure that's been built through the site, as well as phased staged placemaking. We have generous community facilities, connections and green spaces. This is a former airfield site, and this is going to be a high quality, low carbon community with walkable neighborhoods, network of cycle paths and reliable public transport. Sorry. Next project is in London. It is in Southall near Heathrow Airport. We call it Southall Waterside, and it is on a place of a former gasworks and contaminated land, as I mentioned, near Heathrow. And by transforming this site, we are transforming the local area and acting as a catalyst for the whole of the local area. You can see that the size of this site is a key site for this whole regeneration of the whole area in West London near Heathrow. One of the key aspects of this site is biodiverse landscape that we've created for all. We've created for a community that's very strong in the area, and we work closely with the community and the client to create a truly biodiverse, healthy landscape for use of all residents, existing and new ones. And one of the aspects is also a soil hospital that's been installed and providing ground and soil remediation throughout the site, because the site has been contaminated. So it's a use of a brownfield site, and you can see the vision and how it's looking at them, how it's going to look. One of the key aspects of this project is its staged placemaking, because the project will last for will be built for 25 years. We've ensured that with our approach, every stage of the project, the new phases that are being built now and people are moving in, there already exists a place. Next, one of the key projects that we're very proud of at JTP is St. Clement's in London. It's again a reuse, and we've given new purpose to buildings of a former workhouse infirmary that's listed buildings in East London. It's also a series of new buildings brought together with the existing buildings. And we're very proud that this is a shared vision that we've developed with the local community. And you can see some of the workshops and charrettes we've undertaken there. We're very proud, again, of the fact that it's a London's first community land trust, which means the community is acting as a developer, and all the profits and benefits of this development go back into the community rather than to a developer. It is a car-free neighborhood, and how strongly community formed around this project, you can see in the fact that they've formed a festival based on the community engagement that we've done with them. And the festival has been running during the project construction, and the meanwhile uses on the site were organized by the community. Another project in London, you might recognize this as an iconic Battersea Power Station, iconic site and also iconic project for London that's currently being built, but also already moved in. And it's one of the most exciting and innovative mixed-use neighborhoods in the world. And JTP's contribution to this was in several aspects, but one of the key things is the placebook and a strategic placemaking consultancy, which we've undertaken to ensure a thriving and a successful place, not just a series of buildings. So the placebook is a publication that sets out the master plan, vision, and the manifesto for the site, and a strategy about placemaking that all the individual architects and developers that came in to develop the site used as a guiding set of principles for the project. And the last project that I'll quickly touch on here is in Isle of Wight, an island south of main Isle of Britain. And it is a regeneration of a disused shipyard on the waterfront called Medina Yard. And this project is very significant for Isle of Wight in the sense that it's giving people access to waterfront, new public spaces and pedestrian spaces, and it's really regenerating the whole of the area. Again, you can see the community participation images, and it was very extensive throughout the project, which meant that we've ended up with a vision for a place that is very distinctive and of its place, and a place that hopefully will be a thriving and a sustainable neighborhood. And this is where I will end my presentation. Hope that's okay, Guy. I hope I didn't take up too much time.
That was wonderful, perfect, spot on, Ivana. Really, really good. If you don't mind, I've got a question straight away from straight after your presentation. So we saw some really good projects there, and it was great to see a few of these projects actually with a group just a few weeks ago before the lockdown. After Future Build, we visited with, I think, up to 30 Russians in a huge group. And so the question is, how important is biodiversity in your projects? Because we often hear about green building projects and their wonderful energy solutions, green materials, transport solutions. But I believe JTP has got really good experience in the biodiversity side. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, thanks, Guy. We visited together a couple of great places a couple of months ago, indeed. JTP has been working closely with landscape architects for all of our duration, but recently, in the last couple of years, we've developed a very close relationship with London Wildlife Trust and other wildlife trusts across the UK, and we work really hard with them as well as landscape architects to try and develop landscapes that are truly biodiverse, and try to understand as architects and placemakers the meaning and the difference of a landscape and a biodiverse landscape, because what we've learned is not every landscape contributes equally to the biodiversity and health of the environment. So we start every project having a workshop with Wildlife Trust, which I find fascinating still, the input that they give us at every start of every project, because as architects we see buildings and we start with laying out buildings, but then we have this session where the London Wildlife Trust advisor comes and says, well, how about nature corridors? You're blocking paths for nature to come through your development, and they unlock these amazing ideas for us that work together with our layouts, but allow to connect nature into a network, because one of the key things for London, as any other big urban city, we are not going to get a lot more green spaces than we do, but we need to make sure that the green spaces that we have work hard together, and that we connect them all and make sure that there's thriving biodiverse landscape in London. So I think hopefully, Guy, you've been able to witness some of London Wildlife Trust's great work that they've done across London on urban projects as well as rural projects outside in the UK.
That's right. And I would say that they really do add value for each of those apartments which are sold. I would say that a certain, not just attractiveness, but part of the value in pounds, shillings and pence, they used to say, is actually based on the wonderful biodiversity around them. Quick question to you, which has come also from the audience. Is there like a standard methodology, excuse me, way of measuring sustainability? And if so, does that differ in the different countries, you know, in the UK, States, China? Which are there any standards out there which you would use, or methodology to rate that?
Yes, well, it's a great question actually, because UK government is working also closely with London Wildlife Trust and other wildlife trusts across the UK, and they have developed a series of measures that we measure the net greening gain of each project in biodiversity. So that UK has established two criteria that helps us, and every project depends on the local authority in the UK, but GLA, which is Greater London Authority, is really keen to promote the greening factors and biodiversity. So they use these two standards to measure every new significant project in London against, and impose on developers this criteria in order to ensure a truly healthy landscape.
Well, that's great. It's good that they're working with the local authorities like that. One of your developments, I believe, was car-free, and the residents had to sign that they're not going to, they don't own a car, and that they don't have any cars even. It's there was one of the questions also came in about, I don't know if this means anything because I can't quite understand it myself, but the question is about green spaces and how people interact with those green spaces. Is that something that you study as part of your studies before or afterwards?
Yes, so one of the key things in the projects that we're currently working on is to ensure that the green spaces are interactive and also inclusive. So we're working at the moment with some of the councils on child-friendly landscape design, and trying to ensure that to move away from landscape and green spaces where there are particular places allocated for children's play and for adults contemplation. We're trying to incorporate inclusiveness and interactive green spaces throughout, so have informal places for play, informal places for sitting that also work better with nature than the classic design of landscape was, where you segregate children's play in one area, woodland walks in another. We're trying to integrate them all. So we're trying to work hard on that. And sorry, I was just going to back. It's a biodiversity net gain and urban greening factor are the two factors that UK government and London, Greater London Authority have.
Okay. So what I suggest, Ivana, it's very fascinating. Why don't we go ahead now and listen to the next speaker, and at the end of the panel, if we have more questions, we can then pass those questions on to the various speakers. So thanks very much for your presentation. Stay on the line, don't go anywhere. I would now like to hand over to our next speaker, Екатерина Смирнова. So Kate, I hope you're there. From Bruсника. Now, Bruсника is also in London with us in Future Build, and I know that they've seen some of these wonderful examples of UK developments. I've also had the pleasure of visiting some of your developments in Yekaterinburg. I believe it was the Kandinsky house. It's really amazing experience, and your green rooftop garden and other features, some amazing buildings. So I'll hand over to you, and I believe you're going to be presenting in Russian.
Да, спасибо, Гай. Я буду на русском разговаривать. Вы правы, спасибо за представление. Так, сейчас включим презентацию. Так, моя тема звучит следующим образом. Это меняющийся мир жилищного строительства в России и принципы устойчивого развития в его основе. Как сказал Гай, я представляю компанию Брусника в качестве ведущего специалиста направления устойчивого развития. Наверное, многие уже слышали о нашей компании. Брусника – это российская девелоперская компания, которая специализируется на строительстве жилых многоэтажных домов. Компания начала свою деятельность 15 лет назад в городе Тюмени. Сегодня штаб-квартира находится в Екатеринбурге. Брусника ведет строительство жилья в крупных городах Урала и Сибири, в Москве и Московской области. С начала своей деятельности Брусника построила более 1,4 миллиона квадратных метров жилой недвижимости. Это около 30 тысяч квартир для российских семей. Следует отметить, что в 2019 году Брусника вошла в топ-5 рейтинга самых надежных девелоперов страны по версии Forbes. Это жилой район Шишимская горка в городе Екатеринбурге. Он довольно ярко демонстрирует бизнес-идею Брусники. собственно, она была основана на желании изменить жизнь людей к лучшему, предлагая демократичное жилье нового качества, комфорт и функциональность проживания. В Бруснике понимают development как постоянный процесс преобразования города и пространства, в котором живут люди. Особое внимание компания уделяет качеству строительства, применению технических инноваций и укреплению репутации среди покупателей. Такая стратегия согласуется с основными принципами устойчивого строительства или устойчивого развития. Это экологичность, экономичность и социальная ориентированность. Сейчас бы хотелось рассказать о том, как эти принципы реализует Брусника сегодня в уже построенных проектах. Изучая контекст, девелопер создает... изучая контекст, девелопер создает образ проекта, располагая на участке застройки определенный набор морфотипов. Это могут быть кварталы, урбан-виллы, башни, многосекционные дома. Архитектурное разнообразие находится на пересечении экологического и социального принципов устойчивого развития. Сочетание разных типологий жилья на территории делает проект привлекательным для жителей с разными ценностями, социальными моделями поведения, коммуникациями, а значит, делает проект более устойчивым. Дворовое пространство отвечает экологическому принципу устойчивого развития. Брусника путем изучения собственного опыта, строительства и эксплуатации жилья кварталов за последние 5 лет, анализа европейского подхода, а также наблюдения за комфортом во дворе установила внутренний параметр изменения озеленения – объем зелени в кубических метрах. Исследование проектируемых и построенных кварталов показало, что 65% покрытия во дворе занимает озеленение. Экономические и социальные принципы лежат в основе формирования общественных пространств. Брусника проектирует приватные дворы с местами тихого отдыха и интенсивным озеленением, а все коммерческие пространства и стрит-ритейл формируют точки притяжения в масштабе всего района. Игровые и спортивные функции вынесены на единые многофункциональные общественные пространства между домами. Конструктивная схема позволяет архитекторам оптимизировать продукт под различные сценарии проживания. Это могут быть двухуровневые квартиры со вторым светом и зенитным окном, могут быть квартиры с террасами и отдельным входом, квартиры с камином и патио на крыше. Разнообразие планировочных решений позволяет реализовать экономические и социальные принципы. Как мы видели, принципы устойчивого развития изначально были включены в бизнес-идею компании через акцент на качестве продукта. Однако Брусника не останавливается на достигнутом и формирует для себя новые горизонты. В 2019 году Брусника приняла решение сертифицировать жилой дом, строящийся в городе Тюмени, по международной системе экологической сертификации БРИМ. Основной целью сотрудничества с институтом БРИ является преемственность европейского опыта и повышение качества продукта на всех этапах жизненного цикла, от концепции до его эксплуатации, естественно, включая процесс строительства и все остальные промежуточные этапы. Пилотом БРИМ Брусника рассчитывает снизить затраты на эксплуатацию объекта для жителей на 45% за счет разумного использования ресурсов, сократить выбросы СО2 и тем самым повысить качество жизни и здоровья. Различные виды моделирования на всех уровнях были применены на данном проекте. То есть мы моделировали ветер, шум, энергопотребление на уровне квартала, дома, района, чтобы мы повысили комфорт проживания. Далее, что мы сделали? Изучили и применили возобновляемые источники энергии. Затем планируется применить мониторинг, диспетчеризацию, управление инженерными системами здания и каждой квартиры в отдельности. Затем мы привлекали квалифицированных инженеров-акустиков и экологов для формирования благоприятной среды, как для жителей домов, так и для природы. Затем это создание дополнительных удобств для велосипедов, самокатов и электрокаров на территории застройки и в самом здании. Затем мы улучшили теплотехнические свойства непрозрачных ограждающих конструкций на 40% и прозрачных ограждающих конструкций на 30%. И, конечно, мы применили поквартирные приточно-вытяжные установки с теплообменниками для рекуперации тепла. Это, конечно же, не все решения, которые были применены на нашем инновационном проекте. Это лишь малая их часть. Но, как показала практика и как показал анализ всех наших существующих объектов, Брусника уже сейчас применяет достаточно много решений, которые классифицируются как устойчивые, либо зеленые, кому как удобнее говорить. И, естественно, все эти решения, которые были только что перечислены, девелопер планирует внедрить и в другие свои проекты во всех городах присутствия. На этом моя презентация заканчивается. Пожалуйста, задавайте вопросы.
So while the questions come up also from the audience, you're also welcome to give questions. I'd like to ask you, Katya, how does the local market react, and how do local people react when you mention that you're going along this sustainability path? Are local journalists interested? Do people ask questions about that? How do they? What's their first reaction? It's quite new for them, I believe, in Ekaterinburg.
Да, вы правы, Гай. Для нашего города, как, в общем-то, и для России в целом, такое веяние довольно новое. И пока наши люди проявляют довольно активный интерес на самом деле. Мы сами этого не ожидали, но это правда так. Все очень интересуются и спрашивают, что же такого будет интересного в этом доме, чего нет в остальных. Ну, я сейчас только что вам приоткрыла немножко занавес тайны и рассказала о некоторых наших решениях, которые мы будем применять. Хотелось, конечно, добавить, что это будет не только на инновационном доме, то есть это не единичный случай. Далее мы планируем распространить эти инновационные решения, апробированные в Тюмени, на другие наши объекты. Журналисты, конечно, тоже проявляют очень большой интерес, но, наверное, такого очень яркого обращения еще не было к публике с нашим проектом, потому что все равно мы еще проходим процесс сертификации. Мы сейчас активно работаем с Великобританией, с нашими оценщиками. И как только у нас будет уже промежуточный сертификат, тогда, конечно, мы заявим об этом во всеуслышание.
That makes perfect sense, and it's always good to be a pioneer. Obviously, you will have lots of people with you, behind you, supporting you, who like new things, and you'll have lots of questions from people who are not so used to new things. So what I suggest is that we now move on to the third speaker, and then at the end we have more questions, unless there are some questions which have just come in specifically for Kate. I can't see any. It's quite a technical task here, looking at all of the different screens. But Kate, thank you very much, and please stay there. So one of the third speaker, Daniel, his topic is green financing. So there's often questions from journalists about, for example, and people who are buying, saying, well, we'd love to live in a green home, but green homes are more expensive usually. And how are we going to pay for that, and how does the finances work out? So there are some solutions out there in the world, and Daniel's company, his organization, which happens to also be a green building council like ours. Ours is the Russian Green Building Council, of which also Brunsnica is a member, and the Romanian Green Building Council is one of the other European Green Building Councils. So over to you, Daniel. Would like to hear about your experience, and I'm sure there'll be lots of questions about that as well.
Hopefully. Hello, everyone. I hope you can see me and hear me well. Hope you are safe there in Russia. Hopefully the situation is getting better and better, as we can see here in Bucharest. Well, I hope you enjoy the same sunny weather as I do in Romania. Just a second. Well, here we go. As Guy already mentioned, the issue of finance, especially green finance for green buildings, which we already know are a bit more expensive than conventional buildings. This is the main reason we've started this initiative, Smarter Finance for Families, project is a European funded project. It has the support of the European Commission. And with this project, we implement a green homes, green mortgage program, which is very successful in Romania, where it started. And this program aims to support the development of the industry towards a sustainable path to all its stakeholders. This pictures is very representative for our topic today. This is an image very conventional in Romania, where people start building their homes, and at the half of the project realize they don't have enough money to finish it, and they need to cut their budgets. And the most common thing they do is they cut the budget for insulation, for better windows, for better installations, and so on. And they end up having just a house, but a house that needs a lot of energy for operational cost, and also a house that maybe needs more maintenance than a better building, because they choose for poor quality materials and so on. And this picture is not only representative for Romania, it is representative, I think, for many other countries in Europe and maybe in Russia. And the problem for that, a reason for that, is that people are either scared of borrowing money from a bank or for a financial institution, and they are afraid of being obligated to pay for 20, 30 years, or they don't have a solution for that. They don't have the opportunity to borrow money for a trustworthy financial institution. Maybe, I don't know, you have a bank somewhere in the country which has a very high interest rate, and it doesn't make sense to do that. And that's why we started this project. And green finance is a hot topic right now, especially because the financial institutions are taking steps towards it. We have a network of 30+ banks which address the issue of climate change and climate risks when addressing an investment. So basically, they say that it's very important to consider the climate risks when you are doing an investment and all the risks associated. And at the same time, energy efficiency financial institution group and a group commissioned by the European Union is doing the same thing, but they are addressing the energy efficiency and the risks associated when you do an investment in a building, an infrastructure, and anything related to energy efficiency. And when you talk about green finance, well, in a nutshell, they are investments that bring environmental and social benefits. When we talk about buildings, there are energy efficiency and renovation loans. And a good news is that in Romania these days, the government issue a regulation where they subsidize the investments, where they subsidize people who are willing to renovate their buildings. So they can cover the cost for up to 80% of the total investment, which is a great thing. Another green finance product are the green bonds issued either by private or public institutions. Another thing that could be supported by green finance is increasing the building codes to make them greener or improve them towards energy efficiency standard. And as an example here, we have the European Union regulation, the 2020 law talking about the nearly zero energy buildings, and so on. And the main problem here, the hotspot here actually is how to convince the people that long-term benefits could be transformed into immediate benefits, and how the monthly investment can become a monthly benefit. And the answer here is a mortgage, especially for buildings. That's why we put together 17 organizations for 12 different countries to implement this program at a large scale. We have in our organization GBCs from all over Europe. You see on the map marked with blue, there are the implementing countries where we implemented this program. Romania is the first one because we started this project in 2018 so far, and so far we have we've done significant progress, and the project is successful. That's the main reason we exported it, let's say. And we have 2 countries that support us with expertise. So basically, we cover 12 countries with over 300 million people, which is a great deal. Okay, let's move on and explain how it works, this green finance thing in buildings. We have, when we talk about the building sector, we talk about different stakeholders. And here we have the home buyers, the citizens who need a home, either by buying it or by building it. We have the developers and investor in residential buildings. They are building or investing. They could be also companies like Ekaterina's company, which is building great buildings in Russia, or people like, I don't know, me, who I'm willing to build a house for myself in the following years. We have the banks that issue mortgages, and also the certifiers. And let's take the example of us, the Romania Green Building Council. And last but not the least, we have the green home solution providers. It's a generic term. It refers to each company or professional involved in designing and building a project. And here we have the architects, consultants, construction companies, building material manufacturers, equipment, and so on. And the problem we address here is a systemic problem, is the chicken and egg systemic problem, is that each stakeholder is waiting for the other part to take action. And here we have the bank who basically issue mortgages, but it doesn't have better products or more sustainable products to offer discounted mortgage fees. For example, we have the developers who can build, of course, greener projects, but they don't know if they have demand for that. We have the citizens who maybe they want some green projects, green buildings, but they don't have enough money to buy them. And you got the point. And with our initiative, we bring them all together to the same table and make them communicate, let's say. And it works like that. So basically, we are in direct connection with the developers. They come to us at the beginning of the project. We agree upon the minimum requirements they need to meet in order to certify their projects. And at this point, we issue a pre-certification. And with this pre-certification, this developer can go to a bank and can either borrow money to build this residential development, or just build it, and at the end, the bank can issue discounted mortgage loans for the borrowers, for the citizens who are going to buy homes there. So in this way, we are creating benefits for each part. For the banks, because they are lending money for better buildings, certified buildings, green buildings. Actually, they are preserve their value in time, and at the same time, when they lend money, they need to make sure that they get the money back from the borrower. And with this thing, with our initiative, we lower the default risk. Of course, the citizens, the home buyers, have the benefit of a better home, of a healthier home, and most importantly, of a green finance product that can facilitate them to get this green home at a lower cost, actually, and with no financial burden over, I don't know, 20 or 30 times. And we, of course, as the certifier, are very happy that we are reaching our goal to make the construction industry more greener. And of course, the green home solution provider have the benefits because we are developing a database platform to list all the solution providers that have green products or green services in order to successfully realize a green project. Yeah, in our opinion, is a win-win-win-win-win business. The way in which a citizen can get a green mortgage, actually a green mortgage is a discounted mortgage. But actually the bank issue, the bank lend money, and the borrower is allowed to borrow more and pay less because of the discounted interest rate. That's the programming. That's the how it works in a nutshell. Okay, so I think I've already explained this in short. So basically, the green mortgage is an agreement in 3 parts. We as a certifier, because in order to get a green mortgage for a developer or for for a home buyer, sorry, the developer needs to certify their projects, and we have created a certification, a green certification for residential buildings. It's called Green Homes, but you already know the most common certification like LEED, BREEAM, HQA, and so on for residential projects. And in this thing, we involve the developer who is willing to get the certification and need our support, and at the same time, we involve a bank who will issue discounted mortgage loans for the borrowers who are going to buy homes from the developer. And the most and another important thing here is that after we certify the project for a period of 5 years, we'll gather data about how that project operates over, I don't know, over a specific period of time, and get data about the energy consumption, water consumption, and we adapt the project accordingly. And here's an example. There's a real comparison between 3 apartments of the same square footage, but they are different in terms of green performance. We have energy performance certificate apartment B on the left, an A in the middle, and a green home certified apartment on the right. And as you can see, the price for those apartments are different according to their performance. What's the main thing of the program, and what I'm going to emphasize here is that we are not considering the cost of the apartment of the building itself. We are considering the total cost of monthly ownership of the owner, and here we have the mortgage, here we have the energy bills, the maintenance cost, the comfort cost, because we don't pay for a comfort specifically, but we pay. We are not paying with money, but we are paying with our comfort, and also the healthy cost. And as you can see, highlighted here is that you end up paying less for a green home certified apartment, although it has a higher acquisition cost, because basically the discounted mortgage, discounted interest rate allows you to pay less for your mortgage, and at the same time, a green home has a lower operational cost. So I think you get it. Here is the cover of the advertisement over promotion of one of our partnering banks, Alpha Bank in Romania. They advertised their Alpha Green product, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and it was successful because from that moment on, I'm pretty sure they got a lot of project finance. We've talked about green mortgage, green homes, and I like to go here deeper into what is a green homes from our perspective. As you already know, a green home certification like LEED, or BREEAM or the others, is a holistic approach on how to assess green performance of the building. And here we have the energy efficiency measures, and we give more points for different thresholds, like a passive house, or energy performance A, or NZ building. Another important criteria is the location and where the house is built, because it's you get more points if the building is located in a walkable community and you don't need to get in your fossil fuel car and travel the city, and you know what I mean. And another important thing here is the indoor air quality and the comfort that the building gives to the occupants. The sustainable materials that are first natural, and they have a low embodied energy and also a low carbon footprint, and they are not toxic, and their toxicity level is low, like the VOCs, the formaldehyde, and the other compounds. And also how the construction waste is managed, and also how the waste is managed during the operation of the building, and also other innovative approach towards how we upcycle the building after its lifespan and other things like that. In order to access the green mortgage, you need a certification, as I said before. The first one on the left is our certification in Romania. We have the next one, the certification from Ireland, from other smarter partner from other countries from our smarter consortium. We have certification from Italy, from Czech Republic, and also the common certification, as you already know. And for example, in order to be eligible for a green mortgage, you need a LEED Silver certified project. As a timeline, well, by the end of the year, by the end of the next year, each smarter country needs to have a working project, meaning that they need partnering banks, they need developers to adopt the program, and first they need the certification working there. As a progress so far, well, last month, I think, yeah, in March, each partnering country issued their toolkit for residential developers, for banks, and yeah, that's a great milestone in our project. I will share with the organizers the toolkit in English over our program, and they can share with you for more details. Well, some partners of our program, some endorsers like banks in Romania. Guarantee Bank is a very supportive bank in Turkey, and they are working on a green finance product there. We have endorser for United Nations, which is very good for us.
Daniel, 1 minute, please. 1 minute, if you can wrap up.
That's the last one. Okay, and here we have just a small amount of the certified projects we have so far. Totally, we have $500 million worth of certified projects so far. Totally 605,000 units, meaning either apartments or home, and other 2,000 or 3,000 in the pipeline. So the things are moving on. And that's it.
Very good, wonderful, very, very interesting presentation. Several questions have come in. One of them is from the Institute of Association of Steelmakers in Russia, asking you a question whether this green mortgages scheme exists yet in Russia, or if you have any plans to introduce that in Russia. Maybe that's something we can also, the two of us, comment on.
Yeah, not yet, but I'm pretty sure that we have to work on that. I think it was a timing problem that Russia was not part of the project, but I'm pretty confident that in the
I believe
future
that Ukraine is included in your list,
yes.
Georgia and some other nearby countries.
The most eastern country, I think, is Georgia. Yeah, Georgia, Turkey, and then moving up to Ukraine. But but we have in the pipeline Serbia, for example, Hungary. And it's not established that we have only 14 countries in our consortium. We are very open to collaborate with other countries and other GBCs, for example.
All right. Okay. Well, that's good, and it's good that you're working with other green building councils, and I'm glad that we can continue that discussion. I presume that if Bruсника, for example, wanted to be included, or other similar developers, then their certification using BREEAM would be sufficient.
Yeah, sure. We are open to collaboration with solution providers. We are working on the platform, on the database, where we are going to centralize all the solution providers that are suitable for our certification, for our criteria. So if among the public are potential solution providers, just send me an email, and I'm open for discussions.
Fantastic. Well, Daniel, thank you very much. I have a question now for Ivana, if you can come back and join us, Ivana, if you're still there, about the role of you're there, yeah, about engineering solutions for the buildings, not just biodiversity, but whether you can name any type of solutions which are used in your projects, either with the heating, cooling, lighting, transport, you name it. I'm sure that you can give us a few examples.
Hello, yes, thank you for the question. So as I said, we at JTP would like to approach it holistically. So in terms of engineering solution, one of the engineering solutions is the heating, and UK government again has changed the regulation to address the climate change recently. So we're now working towards a completely new guidance, which is reducing a reliance on non-sustainable modes of heating. So, for example, many of our new developments will have air source or ground source heat pumps installed and not relying anymore. The apartment that I live in at the moment, we have a ground source heat pump, and the new project I'm working on have ground source heat pumps.
I believe it's worth saying there that I think, is it 2025, all new UK residential buildings will no longer be connected to the gas network. Is that correct, or to fossil fuel?
Yes, that's correct at the moment. So at the moment it's a big shift, and we're working on each project with sustainability consultants to develop heating systems that will be completely disconnected from gas and going on to sustainable. And then other engineering things are, again, perhaps not so blatant, but what we try and do is encourage transport engineers as well to work really closely with us, because it is not just about buildings, it is about sustainability of life cycle of the place and of people living there. So we are looking really hard at how we design roads and surfaces with transport engineers, also drainage engineers, to be very sustainable, to drain sustainably, as well as landscapes, and as well as encourage public transport and cycling and walking.
Well, that's great. There was also a question there for you, Ivana. I believe you answered it online, but maybe you could comment very briefly from our friend and famous new urbanist, Diru Tadani, about the role of glass in buildings. We've seen that a lot of your projects, they have lots of glass from the floor to the ceiling. Is that sustainable, and how would that fit into your mix?
It is a very complicated question. Is there anything again?
Diru always has complicated questions.
Yes.
But they're always very good ones.
What is the optimum, and how much we can? We need to encourage the use of glass in the sense of providing people with well-lit spaces, and we encourage all our projects to have full height or really wide windows, because we feel that mental health benefits hugely from being able, at the moment I can sit and I can see through my eye level, I can see through to the street, and there's a lot of research that goes into importance of windows and openings into spaces, but then there's the balance of how do we do it sustainably, because we need to ensure that there's I've sent a link, I hope that Diru finds it helpful, link to how UK government has tried to set out the strategy for decarbonisation of glass production in the future, whether it will be implemented or not, but there are certain aspects, and one includes recycling and reuse of glass.
Well, that's good, and I know that biophilia is also an important factor in green buildings, and through those good windows you can then see wonderful nature outside and be part of it. We're almost out of time, but the organizers have given us another few minutes. One of the questions which has also come up here this time for Kate from Bruсника, a question about whether Bruсника plans to use metal framed buildings, so metal in your buildings, steel frame buildings.
Как правило, в нашем строительстве, да, спасибо за вопрос, Гай. Как правило, в нашем строительстве, конечно, используются в основном это железобетонные конструкции, да, в качестве несущих элементов. Но все проекты индивидуальные, поэтому никто не исключает в будущем использование металлических конструкций. Почему нет?
Okay, and there was also a question there from Izhevsk about whether Bruсника would consider using antibacterial, anti-vandal solutions and other sort of interesting solutions like that in their buildings.
Да, конечно, мы используем такие продукты. Ну, как все знают, наверняка, мы делаем отделку под чистовую в квартирах, то есть мы не применяем финишную отделку. Конечно, в МОПах мы используем антивандальные покрытия, антивандальные панели и так далее, это безусловно. И, конечно, стоит добавить, что это является одним из основных требований по системе BREEAM. Это делать необходимо, это обязательно.
Wonderful. Yeah. Maybe just a very final question from myself to all of the panelists, if you could answer shortly. What has changed now in the world for you after this pandemic? So what, you know, how has the world changed in just a couple of words? How has it changed your business or your, you know, your concept? Maybe I could start with Ivana. Maybe she's maybe we could start, or unless you want to start, Kate, it's up to you.
Hello, no, sorry, I was on mute, so I didn't realize that I was on mute. Yeah, so we are still, as you can see, we are still working from home, and we're, as a business, we're still looking to see how this will change the world that we work in and we live in. But coming from someone that that we work at different scales, we work at large scale, we also look at homes because we feel, again, that this holistic approach is the best one. It will definitely change how we design homes. I think the importance, and published an article, this is something very dear to my heart, the importance of private outdoor amenity space to each one of us, because we think that... But
has that changed? You know, what's changed after the...
I think
it's accelerating. Could you say that's accelerating? Or some of them has been...
Yes, it will accelerate. It will accelerate it because people that are at the end of purchasing power will understand the value of things now more from this knowledge that we all have collectively, and that will influence the developers then and trickle down to designers. So it always has to come, unfortunately, from the end where the people that purchase things and their desires hopefully have now changed. They've seen what matters.
They've seen the value of those places, those wonderful quality places, yeah.
And also a value of amenity and outdoor space for each one of us, and the environment, and hopefully that will change how they approach.
Well, I think now, both in Russia and in the UK and in other countries, from the people who are sitting at home and working, there are two types. So the people who feel quite happy working at home and can look out a window and see green things and have a nice environment, and the people who are very unhappy because they're in a very small space, probably in the center of a town, where their main idea was to travel to work and be at work all the time. So that's probably two worlds. If I could ask that same question to Brussnika, to Kate. Kate, has anything changed, you know, in your world or for Brussnika after this pandemic? Has the market changed, or has your strategy changed, or has your life changed very much?
Ну, Гай, то, что касается непосредственно процесса работы, то изменилось довольно мало, потому что мы достаточно автономны, у нас есть компьютеры, ноутбуки, которые мы можем перенести в любое место и работать без привязки к месту. Все довольно просто и автоматизировано. Конечно, то, что касается стройки, там ввелись довольно жесткие санитарные правила и так далее. Я думаю, что эта пандемия внесет изменения в наши архитектурные решения и планировочные решения. Мы наверняка будем предусматривать более просторные рабочие места, более комфортные рабочие места. И, скорее всего, как Ивана уже говорила, мы также будем предусматривать какие-то места для отдыха именно не общественного, а какого-то приватного. Да, у нас сейчас есть на последних этажах пентхаусы с выходами на кровлю, с эксплуатируемой кровлей, но это для ограниченного числа людей, только у тех, у кого есть верхние этажи, ну, у кого есть выход на кровлю. Конечно, у нас есть лоджии, балконы и другие места отдыха, но я думаю, что этот спектр будет расширяться, конечно. Так что я думаю, что с точки зрения архитектурного разнообразия пандемия сработала нам на руку. С точки зрения роста это такой толчок очень важный. Но, конечно, с точки зрения нагрузки на рабочий процесс и нагрузки на наши медицинские учреждения, это очень сильный удар. Мы надеемся, что это вскоре закончится и вернется к прежнему ритму. Гай, вас не слышно. У вас микрофон выключен.
Sorry, yeah, I know also that in Brusnika's buildings you have wonderful communal spaces. Some of them have even club spaces where people can be together. Finally, from Daniel, in the European Union and in Romania, what are your comments after this? Can you see much changing? This just 1 minute, please, because we're really almost out of time.
Yeah, sure. Regarding our activity, no, we just moved online and we were doing our job greatly here. Regarding the construction industry here, I think people who are living in cities, they are living in apartments, basically small, because we are on the top list in the European Union of lower square space per person. And people are starting to look for an area outside the city where they can build a tiny home and they can isolate whenever they want and have a additional space of nature with them.
Wonderful. So just like Ivana said, there'll be more demand for
exactly
greener and wonderful houses. Well, thank you very much to all of our panelists, and thank you for everybody for listening. I'll hand you now back to Natalia from Forum 100+, who's the organizer. Thank you.
Гай, большое спасибо. Тоже хочу сказать огромное спасибо всем спикерам за действительно интересное выступление. Большое спасибо всем, кто нас слушал. Мы увидели огромное количество вопросов. К сожалению, чисто физически не успели рассмотреть все, но мы увидели, что тема очень живая, тема очень интересная. Мы обязательно учтем это при формировании деловой программы нашего форума, который будет в октябре. Поэтому приезжайте, общайтесь с нашими спикерами вживую. А сейчас следите за нашими новостями. Мы планируем еще много интересных мероприятий провести и будем рады видеть вас их участниками. Берегите себя и всего доброго.